What's up, YouTube?
Hey,
I'm G Infinite,
I'm Ultimate Q.
and today we're gonna be doing one of the coolest Avengers, also associated with other groups. But we're gonna be talking about Ant-Man today. Ant-Man being a very powerful figure within the Avengers and even out of the Avengers. I know that he's dying to tell you a little bit about Ant-Man and also a little bit about his origins as far as in the comics. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about the first figure, and of course I'm gonna go with the original Ant-Man, and that is Hank Pym. Hank Pym, for those of you that don't know, had the traditional red and blue with the black outline on his uniform, and then he also had the Ant metal helmet, which this is by Toy Biz. Toy Biz did this, and this is the Giant Man series. As you can see, this creates the Giant Man Build-A-Figure. Very cool. He comes with the molecule to kind of like stabilize or make things smaller. He used to use that a lot, especially in the comics, to kind of make objects smaller, and that was to change molecular structure of the actual being.
And those of y'all who are wondering who the heck is Hank Pym, because a lot of y'all just know Marvel from movies. He's the older gentleman in the movie, Hank, from the Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
Because they introduced Scott Lang in that movie, but the old man was Hank Pym, which is the original Ant-Man, who he's talking about right here. Basically, a little bit about Hank Pym before we continue with the figures. It's all in the head. Ant-Man, Hank Pym debuted in 1962 in the Tales of Astonished Ant-Man. I think it was called The Man in the Anthill.
Yeah.
Basically, what it was is that he was he grew up in Nebraska in an ordinary poor family. His dad knew that he was smart, but his dad was so pissed off at him because he was like, they're poor. So his dad was like, you know what? Come up with an invention that works. So he didn't really get supported by his parents. It was his grandmother who supported him and his imagination and pushed him to create certain things. Basically Nebraska, that's where he's from. What else? I'm sorry, let me go into my trusty information. He was a young biochemist, all right? He had a first wife. Believe it or not, Hank Pym was married before to a woman named Maria, and this woman basically, his first tragedy happened when they traveled to Hungary and she was murdered in Hungary, and that was when he first had his first breakdown. It was, that's the beginning of his tragedy. Right now we have the production group behind the camera that's distracting the heck out of us.
I am ready to jump like the Lion of Judah that I am, and someone's gonna get hurt. I am beyond words right now. I am firing production as we speak.
All right, so back to the Italian Stallion. A little bit more about this figure.
Okay, this figure, very, very cool. Extremely posable. The only little thing that I didn't like about the Toy Biz Wave is the way this hand is. It can't really open up or close in the hand, but it is very cool because the helmet is detachable. You can take off the helmet, put it back on. And one of the best key things, which leads to my next figure, is that this Hank Pym, he creates the Giant Man series Build-A-Figure. And for those of you that are looking at this wonderful Giant Man, the Giant Man Build-A-Figure is part of that series. And this is the Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure. Very, very cool, very articulated. If you take a look at the red, you can see it a little kind of like dim black in the pants to show the muscles and stuff. Yeah. And I mean
hamstrings.
And I'm just Toy Biz got it right when they did the height. The height on him is beyond belief because I'm gonna compare him to the Hasbro Build-A-Figure of Ant-Man or Giant Man. And you're going to be like, whoa, there's a big difference in height, which I'm going to be talking about this Build-A-Figure in a couple minutes. But if you can tell, in size, he blows him out the water.
That's why they call him Giant Man.
And so this Giant Man, which is Hank Pym originally, he's from the Toy Biz Wave. Yeah. So in order for you, obviously, to have that, you would have to have the set of the series of the Ant-Man series that came out for the Toy Biz collection. So definitely look him up. Giant Man, awesome. I have here him holding a miniature wasp.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, Wasp and Ant-Man, they have been associated throughout the comics and of course in the Avengers.
Yeah. A little bit about the Wasp. Basically, the Wasp made her debut in 1963 in the Tales of Astonished Ant-Man and the Wasp battled the creature from the cosmos. Basically, the way that Ant-Man and the Wasp met was that after his wife Maria died, when he met Janet Von, let's just say Von because I forgot her last name. I know it starts Von something else. Well, when he met her, he almost lost his opportunity with her because it was her father that wanted to do business with him, like collaborate on inventions, stuff like that. And Ant-Man was like, nah, I'm good. So when the father walked out, he was like, man, I'm about to lose this opportunity with Janet. So what happened was that this creature, the creature from the cosmos, this alien guy killed her dad. And
An alien guy.
Yeah, some alien dude from the creature of the cosmos.
Like E.T.?
Well, a little bit more vicious, more like the blob. Matter of fact, he looks like Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt.
If you see the comic of where she debuted, which should be the whole screen right now,
Look at my face.
then
Petrified.
That's
Yeah.
petrified. So Jabba the Hutt, okay. So basically, she calls Hank Pym because she doesn't know who else to call. He dressed up as Ant-Man, goes to her, and this is how slick he is. He goes to her as Ant-Man and says, "Hey, call FBI." But then after you call the FBI, go to Hank Pym's house. He was like, go to his house. He's a cool dude.
Okay.
So she goes to the house, and he takes up the mask and says, "Hey, it's me." And boom, that's the way he hit it off. So he basically shrinks her, gives her an outfit, gives her wings, and becomes a wasp. And together they look for that creature and they kill him.
Okay.
Revenge.
Now the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure that you can relate. Hank Pym, he went through a series of kind of like distress, right? When he would change his molecular structure from height differences, right?
Well, they say in the comic books, they say that if you use the Hank Pym particles, it's called Hank Pym particles, ping pong balls.
Not ping pong.
Ping pong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hank Pym particles.
But Pym particles.
Pym particles.
So they say that if you use his serum a lot, eventually your molecular structure gets changed to the point where you don't need the Pym particles no more.
No.
Now your molecular structure, you could shrink or grow because your body got used to it. But that's a bad thing about that because when you shrink or grow constantly, it causes like stress on your brain.
But this is a serum, right? That they took.
It's a serum,
right? Because it's not. A lot of people sometimes they confuse it. Is it the soup or the serum?
Well, it was a serum. What happened was that he was working on, after his first wife died. He dedicated himself to humanity and justice, right?
Right.
So in doing that, he was looking for something to help humanity, and that's when he came up with the serum.
Okay.
He found a new particle. He discovered a new particle and named it the Pym particle.
Cool.
But it was in a liquid form. Basically, he discovered a rare group of particles that he named the Pym particles that he can shrink stuff. Originally, Pym was shrinking stuff with a liquid of the particles. But later, he turned that liquid into gas. That way you can inhale it, you can shrink a lot quicker.
Wow.
So I think that's why he has that little mask right there. You see that Scott Lang has it? He pushed that button, inhales it, boom, and he shrinks instantly.
Okay.
So it's not liquid no more.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's more like something that he's breathing in.
No, yeah, it's
toxin.
Basically.
Right.
And so those particles, when he breathes it in, since it's a gas now, he shrinks instantly now.
Sure.
That's why you see him in the movie and stuff like that. Before it was a serum. So
Very cool. Well, I think, and now this is gonna change a little bit. Scott Lang, who is the new Ant-Man, he was an engineer. I'm gonna let him talk about that because I don't want to get into too much detail. But life was a little bit tough for him. So this is the Build-A-Figure. This is the Scott Lang, the new Ant-Man Build-A-Figure. This Build-A-Figure, very cool, very articulated.
I like super cool. You got the look at that style.
I like the boots in particular. I'm glad you labeled that. The boots are you know, they have the tongue out, as you can tell. I like the padding on the uniform. I definitely love the metallic that they gave him on the back and on the gauntlets. And of course the helmet, the very stylish helmet, if anything, that makes him definitely look more like an Ant-Man. And very, very quickly, this Ant-Man is so articulate. And I have to give it to Hasbro. Definitely a lot more articulation
A lot of detail.
than this Ant-Man. But of course, as far as height, Hasbro could have done just a little bit better. I would have taken maybe at least 2 more inches on him, and to make him look bigger and make him look more like that Giant Man. Because for those of you who don't know, Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Yellow Jacket, all these guys the same character. So this is the Build-A-Figure, and the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure. He comes from the Infinite series, I believe, and in order to form him, you would have to get the Civil War set.
Yeah.
The Civil War Captain America set to build this Build-A-Figure. Very, very cool.
Now, a little bit about Scott Lang. Scott Lang made his debut in Avengers number 181 back in 1979. Also, he was also in the Astonishing Ant-Man the same year. The way he got introduced to the whole, you know, Ant-Man stuff is the movie is pretty close to the origin.
Right.
Because he did, in the comic book, he did go into Hank Pym's place, stole the suit, but the reasons were different. He was doing it for money because he needed money to like pay for something for he could be with his daughter in the movie. In the comic book, he was doing it because his daughter, he was trying to help his daughter with she had a heart contusion.
Yeah, she had a heart condition.
She had a heart condition, so he went and stole the suit for he can go ahead and see if she could save her, and he got caught by Hank Pym.
Right.
So after he got caught, him and Hank Pym talked.
Hank Pym, who is the original Ant-Man.
The original Ant-Man. So after they talked, he was able to he became a full-time hero. After that, he was even an affiliate of Fantastic Four. He was part of the Fantastic Four, which I still struggle with saying that. But he also became a full-time member of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Not only that, little fun facts about Scott Lang, he dated Jessica Jones for a little bit, but also in the Avengers Disassembled, he got killed by Scarlet Witch, which the more I hear about Scarlet Witch, the more I see how powerful she is.
And not only did Scarlet Witch kill him, but you told me he killed.
She also
a
killed
bunch.
Vision and Hawkeye.
Right.
But you know, in the Marvel universes, most, as you know, superheroes don't stay dead. So he came back. I forgot what series he came back, but this year he finally got his own Ant-Man comic.
Yeah.
It's called Ant-Man #1. You should be able to see. You should be seeing a picture of it right now,
Right.
and it came out this year. So finally, and it's Scott Lang. And so they kept Scott Lang as the Ant-Man to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool because the movies are coming out. So they wanted to make sure the movies match the comic book, and they all stay together with the same Scott Lang.
Sure. And before I talk about the last figure, I also wanted Q to definitely let you guys know, because it was brought to my attention. I mean, I didn't get into the series of those comics, but there is a comic, and Q could talk a little bit more about it, where Ant-Man aligns himself with Ultron.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so if you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, the comic book where he does that, it came out last year, 2017, and it's called Secret Empire. And that comic book, it flips the Marvel world upside down, because a lot of your favorite superheroes are not really superheroes. Like Captain America works for Hydra.
Was a government spy all this
Yeah.
time for Hydra.
And then what happened is that, I'm sorry, we forgot that little fact. Hank Pym was the original creator of Ultron.
Yeah.
Okay? Not Tony Stark in the
A
movie.
lot of people say that Tony dabbled in that, but it was really Hank Pym who created him. And I think it was like to keep him as warden of the cell, right?
Yeah.
To shrink enemies and so forth, and have them like in a cell. And Ultron was in charge of that.
Yeah, so now you know. If y'all didn't know that, if you don't know, now you know. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, so he was the original creator of Ultron. So in Secret Empire, he actually merges with Ultron. So it's Ant-Man and Ultron together. I'm gonna pop up a picture right here. Bam! And right now you should be seeing a picture of how Ultron and Hank Pym are together. Like they merge. And it's crazy because a lot of in that Empire, a Secret Empire, most of your superheroes are not your superheroes. They're bad guys.
Yeah.
And if you gotta check it out, you just gotta check it out. I think you should see a comic book issue #1, and issue #4 is where he merged with Ultron.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's a crazy comic book if you want to read that when it came out last year.
This is gonna lead me to my last figure, and I'm glad that you brought up Ultron. This is from the Ultron Build-A-Figure series. This is the Ant-Man that came in that wave. Very, very cool. And, Scott Lang. Of course, I have him here with a briefcase like he was stealing the serum or something.
Yeah.
But very cool, very articulate. I'm glad that they made the helmet look the way it looks. Definitely the whole change in style from the Ant-Man Hank Pym version to the Scott Lang version. Very, very cool, very unique. I like the metallic and of course the red in it incorporated. His suit has some type of padding. Very, very, very highly articulated. And yeah, man, Scott Lang.
Yeah.
They did a great job with this one. This is from the Marvel Legends Ultron series, and this is the Marvel Legends Infinite series of the Build-A-Figure Ultron.
And one more thing, one more fact from the origin, because they call him Ant-Man. We said a lot about Ant-Man, but we never mentioned why they call him Ant-Man. Okay, so in the 1962 comic book of the origin of Ant-Man, when he developed the Pym particle as a serum, he used it on himself to test it out. But when he shrunk, he left the serum to grow back to big on the windowsill. So he's so small that he was like, how am I gonna get up there? So he ended up going outside to see what he could do. And when he went outside, he ran into an ant. So when the ants came out, he got scared and ran into the ant hole, the hill, and hid in there. Of all places, you're gonna go right into their home, but he did. So when he went in there, he fell into some honey, and a friendly ant came out of nowhere and helped him. But when that ant helped him, other ants came and attacked him, and that's when he realized that he got that strength. So when he had that strength, and if you don't know this, Scott Lang was Hank Pym was an expert of judo. So he used his judo stuff, and get him off, and was able to survive the ants. But he climbed on the friendly ant, climbed him up, and he was able to get the serum and get it. And at that point, he thought the serum was so dangerous that he destroyed it. But then he realized, he was like, wait a minute, this is my best invention, this is my greatest, this is my legacy. Yeah. So he recreated it. And when he recreated it, he started studying ants. And from studying ants, he came up with this helmet, which is a cyberkinetic helmet to communicate with the ants. So from him studying, from his experience with the ants, studying them, developing this helmet, that's when he went ahead and recruited a whole army of ants. Yeah. But with this helmet, he can control ants, spiders, arachnids, any insects. He can basically control most insects with that helmet.
And the last thing I want to talk about, of course, Scott Lang did a great job. A lot of people that don't know the movie that came out amazing. They try to stick to the storyline, which I liked a lot about it. And of course, what he did mainly was to help his daughter, because at that time, of course, he was in poverty, so he had to make moves to try to get what he needed to get done for his daughter. I'm gonna go ahead and do you have that poster? I want to send a special shout out to I want to spend, I don't know if you guys can catch it, but I'm going to go ahead and show it now. I want to send a special shout out to Lewis. Lewis did this Ant-Man. This is a very, very unique Ant-Man, and he did the Venom. I think it's very, very cool. Definitely took his time on it.
So shout out to Lewis.
Special shout out to Lewis. Lewis, good job, buddy. Nice. And of course, this is fan work. So anybody out there, if you're a subscriber and you like our stuff and you want to see us post some of your stuff up, just go ahead and send it our way, and we'll send you a special shout out. This goes out to Lewis. Lewis, thanks a lot, man.
Good job,
awesome Ant-Man, bro, and awesome Venom.
Good job. All right, guys. So I think that wraps it up for Ant-Man. One more fact about Ant-Man: in the movie, Yellow Jacket was the bad guy, but in the comic book, that was one of his alter egos. And Hank Pym was actually Yellow Jacket as well. So if y'all didn't know that, now you know.
Yeah, so
all right.
All these names you hear, Goliath and all this, it's still Ant-Man.
That's right.
So YouTubers, if you like this and you want to know more about the Marvel Legends wave, or you want to know about certain figures that I might have up here, just go ahead and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see, and we'll do it. All right. Anyway, peace out.
I appreciate it. God bless. Subscribe. Hit that like button, and take care.